Let's dive into some Porto fun facts. Porto is packed with fun facts that make it even more charming, and its quirky stories will make you fall in love with the city even more. So let's dive into some fascinating facts. Do you know that is where Porto got its name? Yep, Porto is the reason that Portugal is called Portugal. It all started with the Romans. It all started with a Roman settlement called Portugal, which eventually grew into the Kingdom of Portugal. As time passed, that name spread and became the Portugal we know and love today. How cool is that? Porto has a fun little nickname. It is Invicta. It's like the city's superhero alter ego. It means unconquered, which is super fitting for a city with so much charm and resilience, don't you think? The people of Porto are lovingly called the tripeiros, and there's a pretty tasty reason for that. And it all goes back to the delicious dish of tripas à moda de Porto. The story goes, but it might not be completely true, that back in the 15th century, when the Armada was gearing up for conquest, the good people of Porto would donate every last bit of meat for the good cause, except for the tripe. And what did they do with these leftover bits? Well, they turned them into the delicious tripas à moda de Porto. That's how Porto people earned their nickname, tripeiros. The funny thing is, though, while this dish has its own special place in Porto people's hearts, it's actually the francesinha that steals the show these days. Who'd have thought? No one likes tripas. Speaking of the francesinha, this is the ultimate sandwich. Porto is the proud place of the legendary francesinha sandwich. The name actually means the little French girl. Might sound sweet, but this sandwich is anything but delicate. The francesinha takes indulgence to a whole new level, with layers of juicy meat, sausage, ham and cheese, all smothered in a spicy beer sauce. It's a mouth-watering masterpiece that pulls in the crowds in Porto. Ever wondered why Porto is sometimes called Porto and other times O Porto? Well, here's the reason. O Porto is just the English version of Porto, the original Portuguese name. Because in Portuguese they put an article in front of O Porto, which means the port or the harbour. My English ancestors heard that as O Porto and put the two words together. They didn't realise it meant the port city. The word Porto actually comes from the Latin word portus, which means port, which is quite fitting, don't you think? After all, Porto has always been a big deal as a port city. It's practically built to be the gateway to the world.